How does one man go from this to this in a few years? Oh, actually, no, that was a mistake. Let's rewind. How does one man go from this to this in a few years? I bet he hasn't done that little smirk in a long time. He hasn't even smiled in a long time or even laughed in a long time. But back to the question. How and why does one man go from having all these extravagant things to basically being arrested in a couple, actually in a few years?
What we're learning, according to CNBC, the U.S. Secret Service is currently investigating a Nigerian crime ring who they say are using American stolen identities and exploiting the coronavirus crisis.
So the why is just greed, but the how will take a couple minutes for me to explain. So bear with me. This is Raymond Abas, a man so greedy he thought he could scam his way into becoming a billionaire. Also, you could call him by the name Hushpuppi, Raymond Hushpuppi, the big Don. Why he thought he could scam his way into becoming a billionaire is a mystery I can never solve. But I mean, think about it. Only a greedy person could just sit down and think, maybe I could just keep scamming my way until I reach a billion. Like a billion with B. B-I-L-L. B, not M. A billion. Jeff Bezos status. A billion. A place where even rappers haven't even reached. Most rappers aren't even a billionaire. A billion. It's just so hard to get there. He thought he could just scam his way and become a billionaire without the FBI or even the cops looking into him. You gotta be delusional to think that way. But I might be getting ahead of myself. So let's talk about the case of Raymond Hushpuppi. This is where all the magic began. Born and raised in Lagos State, Nigeria. Just like most of the kids in Nigeria, he went to primary school and then secondary school. But then after that, he couldn't go to the university because his parents were too poor. So he just had to find something to do. And he is not an anomaly because most kids in Africa, even after they go to high school, they can't go to college. And even after they go to college, they can't find a job because there's not that many jobs in Africa. So then they just start scamming.
Most of us in this generation, we are following as far as say, my pastor say,
you never hear?
We don't have our own.
The God of Oyedepo is one side, the God of Adeboye is one side.
This is the major reason why I followed Islam, being that my father is a Muslim and my mother is a Catholic Christian.
Now, growing up, didn't your parents try to push you to one side?
No, never. Not even for once. Not even for
So if
once.
you decide, say, this Sunday you want to go church?
If you want, I'll try it now. If I call my popsi now, but decide my Christianity, let's.
That video has no relevance to the actual case, but if you are wondering what he's talking about, he's giving the reasons why he decided to be Muslim as opposed to being Christian, and he was talking about how most Christians do not read the Bible and they just go to pastors and all that, but Muslims, they read the same Bible, they don't go to any pastors. Basically, he's attacking Christianity, and it's not like he's wrong in most of the things he's saying, but the whole point of the video is to show that this man is a devoted Muslim.
I'll go online, search for different foundations that needs
Wow.
Doesn't even have to be Nigeria, because most places in Nigeria, they will misuse the funds. I look for other countries, other places. Anonymously, I just donate money to them. I don't have to speak to anybody about it. I don't have to talk to anybody about it, that I'm doing this, I'm doing that. let it be between me and God. That's what they call the faith.
Yeah.
That faith is that connection
Ọlọ́run tó ń sìn
between.
òun.
I understand. So ó pay me bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Me doing that, I feel good within myself. I sleep good at night. When something good happens to me, I know it's because I did good. Not because somebody promised me money I did not work for or money that I don't deserve.
Just to clarify, he's not wrong in most of the things he's talking about, and I have no idea if he actually donated money. I mean, he showed some receipts, but what I have a problem is how he wanted people to perceive him, how he wanted to be the good guy, whilst at the same time also stealing money from millions and millions of people around the world.
Dr. Harry said the day where you want to go, where you buy this car, you don't plan to buy Ferrari.
No.
So wait till you see for the motor, now the carbon fiber.
Yeah, because I've always had love for 458s, and when I saw this one, it's different. It's different from everything I've ever seen. I've never seen a 458 like this.
Me
And
too.
it's only 10 in the world like this. They make only 10 like this in the world.
Bear in mind, this is the same guy that said in a previous video that he does things and he doesn't show off, whilst at the same time showing off every time he gets a new thing. Like, what are we supposed to believe? But I might be getting ahead of myself. So back to regular scheduling events, as we were talking about the background of Raymond Hushpuppi. So like I said, he didn't go to college, so he became a Yahoo boy. And what is a Yahoo boy? A Yahoo boy is someone who basically abuses the trust of an internet user by making them pay money in various ways. It could be anything. For example, they could pose as a poor African kid starving, take a picture of a poor African kid starving, and then post the picture on the internet, and then some white woman or white man would be like, oh my god, he's starving, let's send him some money. And then they will send him money, not knowing the money is not going to the kid they just send the money to. Or it could be in other forms, like they could be preying on people that are emotionally fragile, like an overweight person. Basically, since the person can't get love, they could pose as somebody who is going to marry them, and the whole time the person will be sending them money, and then they will be using the money for other purposes and will actually not marry the person. So it's like fake love type scam.
He told me originally he lived in Orlando, and once it started moving forward, I wanted to meet him. He was like, let's get this thing, I want everything out in the open. And then he had a trip he had to go to California.
Did he ever, did you guys ever like FaceTime or Skype or video chat? So you never met?
No, because he went to California very shortly after we started talking. And he was going, when I say this stuff now, I kind of laugh at it. He was going there because he was investing in some gold, and he was needed to go over to Africa. And once he got there, he never came back. There was always a reason. And I've seen this with other women. They've talked about whoever they were involved with had stories of investments, and all of a sudden they needed money. They couldn't get out of the country. You know, they had one emergency after another.
How much did you send him? All in, total all in?
What I lost with him was probably well over $500,000.
$500,000.
Anyways, before he started the Yahoo thing, it's been reported that he used to wash cars, and other people have reported that he used to sell second-hand clothing in Lagos, Nigeria. And on top of that, he himself admitted to being a heavy gambler. And as a gambler, you need money to support your gambling activities. And he also mentioned online casinos as his favorite betting platform back in the days. So basically, everything was shaping up for this man to be an internet fraudster. So the motive for getting into fraud has already been established. The man was poor, was from Nigeria, and had nothing else to do. It wasn't until he left Nigeria to Malaysia that he started getting some money. But even before he left Nigeria to Malaysia, he first went to Ethiopia. By his own account, in Ethiopia, he slept in uncompleted buildings with donkeys. So he decided to go to Ghana, and in Ghana, he sold phone accessories in the street of the capital city. So that is when he realized Africa couldn't help him. So off to Malaysia he went. After Malaysia, he went to Dubai, but that's irrelevant. Now let's talk about the actual case. So in 2019, the FBI started looking into this man's finances and then realized, it's a little fishy where he gets his money from. So they continued to look into him and they found that him, in conjunction with his two conspirators, has been defrauding American citizens for years and even citizens of other nations. So they called Interpol and they were like, Interpol, we got something you will like. We call him.
Everything goes back to your intention. And no matter. Sure, you understand? People say different things in different languages, different form and all that. And it is the intention behind what they are saying that God picks. Not in whatever language, whatever way they are saying it. You understand?
So Hushpuppi and his conspirators were caught in a scam called the BEC scam. That's an upgrade from the Yahoo Boy scam they were doing. This is the big boy stuff. And basically, all you have to do is figure out when a small business or any business is going to conduct a transaction between them and an individual, and then figure out how to use your own bank account as the middleman. Meaning, the business will send the money to you and then you will send the money to the person. But in your case, since it's a scam, the business will send you the money and then you will take the money. So that is the first thing they were charged with, actually stealing the money. The second thing they were charged with though is in around February 2019, they stole about $13 million from a bank. And then they tried to wire the money to their bank account. I mean, they did wire the money to their bank accounts. So first, they were charged with stealing the money itself. Second, they were charged with trying to launder the money from one country to another. And the third thing they were charged with was trying to steal 100 million euros from an English Premier League team. I mean, think about it. This man been stealing like 1 million, 2 million, 100,000, 500,000, and then he just decided, maybe now is the time for me to steal 100 million from an English Premier League. Before, they were stealing from small businesses. Now they want to steal from an English Premier League entity, and they just thought, we're not gonna get caught. And also put in mind, at this point, Raymond Hushpuppi wasn't actually actively stealing. He just provided bank accounts to the whole group. So whenever they stole money, they would send the money to his bank account.
Everything goes back to your intention. And no matter. Sure, you understand? People say different.
So how did the FBI actually find out that this random man that nobody knows is scamming? I mean, nobody knows. Have you seen the man's Instagram? So his Instagram is part of it. But how did they know his Instagram in the first place? You know, there are usually a few things you could be smarter. Most people are book smart and most people are street smart. This man, Hushpuppi right here, was street smart, but he wasn't really book smart. So the FBI was looking into the phones of the other two conspirators. You know, they were looking into the text messages of all the other people involved in a scheme. And then they just realized there was one number which kept on providing bank accounts to the whole group. So they tried to look for the person that owned that number, and it was really, really easy to find that person. It was ridiculously easy. It turned out that the name listed for that number in the first conspirator's phone was Hush. In addition to that, the phone also contained a contact for Snapchat username Hushpuppi5. So now think about what you find a phone that contains the names of a bunch of scammers, and then you happen to find that one of the contacts on the phone is listed as Hush, and then you search through the phone and then you realize that there's a Snapchat contact name of somebody called Hushpuppi. Bingo. So now even if the person doesn't post on Snapchat, all you have to do is put that name on Instagram and something might pop out. So that's exactly what the FBI did, and lo and behold, they found pictures upon pictures upon pictures of this man flexing. So then they were like, something is not right. But if anything, as an international scammer, how do you use the same number you use for Instagram, Snapchat as the same number you use to scam people? How does that make sense? The same number you use in public is the same number you're using in private to scam people. Did you not think you were gonna get caught? I just don't get it. You must be really greedy or a narcissist to really do this. So now that they have his Instagram and they know it's so easy to catch this man, they went on to check his email, and lo and behold, the same email he has on Instagram is the same email he was using to scam. And on top of that, he used that same number to verify his Instagram account. Nah, I'm kidding. He's not that stupid. He used another number to verify his Instagram account. So now they had two numbers of him and an email. So at that point, he was already doomed. But the FBI has to do more investigation to make sure they had everything on him. Oh wait, and wait for it. In addition to that, they found his iCloud account, his Google account. They found everything about this man. I feel bad.
For these ones, 3 digits, 2 digits, their
investments.
status, their investments starts from like 25 million naira above.
Starts
Up
from
to about-
25 million naira.
Yeah, up to 100 million naira. Even cost more than cars most of the time.
Have you ever seen somebody buy this kind of number plate and put it on the Toyota?
Yeah, people are that crazy. Yeah, in Dubai.
So after all this, the FBI still didn't know this man's real name. But they had his email, so they were just waiting. Not even waiting, they went back in time and checked through the emails, and they realized that on September 12, 2017, this man Hushpuppi sent a photo of his own passport into his email. Now they have his real name, his passport number, his age, his everything, and also his UAE resident identity card, which had his address on it. So he was doomed. It was over. So now that they know he's not that smart and he does everything through that one email, all they had to do was really dig through the email. And then they found that in February 2018, there was a wire transfer in amounts of $250,000 to $2.3 million. So all they had to do was connect it to one of those cases they were working on, and then they found that 2 money transfers with the phone number of Hushpuppi and the other conspirator were reported by Western Union, which basically indicates that these two people were so stupid they were using the same phone numbers to wire illegal money into another country. This man's ego was so high, he even applied to a United States non-immigrant visa, so just so he could come here and stay here whilst he scam Americans. Anyways, back to regular scheduling. Now let's talk about the actual accusations, things he's been accused of. Like I said before, he's been charged with 3 things. First, defrauding people. Second, trying to wire transfer money to other countries. Third, trying to defraud a Premier League team. And on top of that, there are these little things he's done that's listed in the FBI document. Like in October 2019, Hushpuppi and his 2 conspirators stole about $922,000 from an American citizen through a JP Morgan Chase bank. And you're probably wondering, how come the banks don't report these stuff? They report it, and sometimes they don't report it because it's kind of embarrassing for one person to steal from a whole big entity. So how did the FBI know Hushpuppi did it? Like I said, these people knew how to scam, but they didn't know how to cover their tracks. So all the FBI had to do was check through the email or the phone number of Hushpuppi, and lo and behold, they found that on that same day, one of his conspirators sent him a text message containing the receipt of the transaction. And you will think this is something that they just did online, like they stole money and they transferred it. Whilst they were doing it, Hushpuppi stayed home, but the 2 conspirators were actually on the ground, like one of traveling from Toronto to California when the whole Chase Bank fraud was happening. So this is what he said to the other conspirator later that day. After the first person confirmed with the second person that the big money have hit, they decided to test Abas and tell him the good news. So remember when I said this person was actually on the ground, traveling from Canada to the US, committing these frauds, right? The whole time the FBI was watching. So when he landed in the US, he was arrested on October 17, 2019. This is way before Hushpuppi was arrested. So if I was Hushpuppi, I would have just stopped, quit, and went about my day. But no. That man is fearless. He kept on scamming. So now that the FBI have conspirator 1 in custody, now they have his phone and they could actually go through their phone, and that is when they found everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. Like on February 12, 2019, they stole 500k from a bank in Romania. And you know what they did? They found out, oh, we stole money from this Romanian bank and they didn't even realize. So they decided we're gonna do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow came, they did it, and this time the Romanian bank found out. So after this, they did a couple of schemes. They did it like every month or every week, something like that. And then came the big one. This time, they were gonna defraud an English Premier League team. Think about it, an English Premier League team of 100 million euros. An English Premier League team. Till this day, I cannot wrap my mind around that. How do you defraud an English Premier League team? A big entity. An entity that has so much protection, is connected to so many banks. Why did you think you were gonna defraud them? So the reason why this scheme did not work because English banks do not send money outside of Europe. And the bank Hushpuppi and his counterparts were using was in Mexico. Basically, if it was in Europe, it might have worked. You just never know.
To that same page where they commented like, oh, that guy saw it on business.
They know they find fault in themselves. They know they find fault, but to find fault in another person.
Exactly.
So that's basically the whole case against Raymond Abas. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I'm sorry. Anyways, after analyzing the case, it seems if this man didn't have social media, he would have never been caught. If this man didn't connect his actual number to his social media, he would have never been caught. Who uses the same number he uses to scam people as the same number for his social media? It just doesn't make sense. You rich, get a new number, get a fake number. Like, oh my God, but yeah, he already pled guilty to it and he's gonna be in prison for like 20 years. He's at this point just waiting for his sentencing. Also, I forgot, Raymond Abas Hushpuppi was arrested in June 2020 in his Dubai apartment during coronavirus. That's what makes it sad. But the moral of the story is, just don't scam. Work for your own money. Just don't scam. Work for your own money. And even if you scam, be smart enough not to use the same number you used to call people as the same number you used to fraud people. Actually, just don't scam. Thank you for watching. It's Opinion Deviante, a conversation with the people, and I'ma see you next time.
According to the FBI, these are just some of the defendants involved in what they describe as the largest online fraud scheme in the country that had worldwide implications.
Victims in Colombia, China, the Caribbean, Germany, Japan, Mexico, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom.
Based in Nigeria, the FBI says this crime ring also was able to hit 1,000 people who live in Los Angeles and bilked them out of $73 million.
Meet Olalekan Jacob Ponle. Sources pointed us to his Instagram feed, which looks like lifestyles of the rich and famous. Fancy clothes, fast cars, a freewheeling lifestyle. Federal prosecutors say Ponle is behind a fraud scheme worth more than $50 million. An unnamed Chicago-based company was allegedly duped into sending wire transfers totaling more than $15 million. Another local company lost $2.3 million. Here's how prosecutors say Ponle's scheme worked. Either he or his co-conspirators were able to gain access to companies' email accounts through a phishing attack. In one of the Chicago cases, they allegedly sent an email that appeared to be from the company's chief accounting officer to another employee ordering the transfer. The criminal complaint says the fraudulent email was almost identical to a prior legitimate email, right down to the name on the bank account. but the account number was different. The feds say Ponley's scheme spanned at least 9 months last year. During that time, one of his Instagram posts read, "Money don't make a man makes money."